Good morning, loves. It is time for our 60-second devotional. Today we're going to read from Psalm chapter 40, verses 1 and 2. I waited patiently for the Lord. He inclined to me and heard my cry. He drew me up from the desolate pit, out of the miry bog, and set my feet upon a rock, making my steps secure. So this psalm is basically, it's a thanksgiving, right, for deliverance and kind of a prayer for help. I love the Psalms because they're this beautiful collection of stories and poems and allegories, and they were written out of real, raw life. They weren't polished worship services. They came from people who were crying out in despair or wrestling with enemies or celebrating victories. And Psalm 40 comes from someone who knew what it felt like to be stuck, to be trapped, sinking in a pit that they couldn't quite climb out of. And yet, they also knew what it felt like to be lifted, steadied, and given ground to stand on again. And I was reading it today thinking life can kind of feel like quicksand sometimes. The harder you struggle, the deeper you sink. And this psalm reminded me this morning, though, we're not left to sink forever. God hears the cry. God leans in and pulls us onto solid ground. And that solid ground can look like a lot of things. It could look like finally finding community where you're safe, finally breathing without shame, or finally just letting yourself rest. For those of us on the margins who've been told that we'll never find a steady place, I want you to hear this part. You're not stuck forever. You're being lifted, and you belong on solid ground. So I want you to go ahead and tag someone in your life who's been that solid ground for you. A friend, a mentor, a safe space, and tell them, thanks for helping me stand. Hope you guys have a fantastic Thursday, and I'll see you tomorrow for our 60-second devotional.